Welcome to the Track to AI podcast, your guide to the most impactful AI and tech solutions powered by Chetu. I'm your host, Leonard Goffe, and I love discovering how the right technology can move businesses forward. I speak with experts about everyday tech problems, and we share solutions that actually work. From AI integration to practical use cases, you'll get the clarity you need to make smarter decisions for your company. If you're ready to stay ahead of the tech trends, yes, you've come to the right place. It is time to get on track. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Track to AI podcast. I'm Leonard Goffe, tech nerd, and of course your host. If you haven't already, please follow the show on Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcast. And yes, while you're at it, share it with your network and your fellow tech nerds. Now, if this is your first time listening on the show, thank you so much. I'm really glad you're here. Make sure to check out our earlier episodes too. On our last episode, we talked about healthcare data, and today we have another healthcare-related episode for you. But first, let's start with a question. How much do you trust AI? Now, even for a tech nerd like me, I never fully trust my AI results, and I've learned the hard way. I fact-check ChatGPT all the time. And on a scale of 1 to 10, where a 1 would be absolutely no trust, and the Terminator is coming for us all, I will not be back. A 10 would be trusting AI with your life, like Tony Stark trusted Jarvis in Iron Man. There was complete trust. Right now, my trust level is about an 8, but with a slight caveat, trust but verify. So I would trust the Terminator, but I also need to know where that chip in his brain is located. Now, checking your favorite LLM results is an example of what's known as human in the loop. And that's where the human makes the final decision about the data they receive. So why should we verify AI results? Because artificial intelligence isn't intelligent at all. It's simply a prediction machine. It doesn't have the uniquely human trait called common sense. And I know a lot of humans still lack that, but AI does not have that at all. Now, AI needs human guidance and training, which means AI won't replace expert human judgment anytime soon. And nowhere do humans matter more than when AI uses human medical data. So today we're talking about how to keep humans in the loop and design AI systems that clinicians and doctors and medical staff can actually trust. Joining me today is Deepak Borole. He's the Director of Operations at Chetu for Healthcare and Life Sciences with over 20 years of experience. All right, let's get to it. Deepak, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Leonard.
You are very welcome, and we are honored to have you here. We've spoken a few times before. Now, I understand you have 2 kids. They're both under 18. How are they using AI right now?
It's a good question. Basically, new generation would be using AI one way or the other. I have 2 boys. One is 3, another one is 7. So obviously, younger one is too young to use any AI system. But the elder one, he used based on his personality and need. That is, he's very like calm and creative. So he use it mainly for like his drawing, music, storytelling. But we at the same time we also have put some guardrails. That way, he has the access to right content and not access anything which he should not. At the same time, we as a family teach them that AI is a tool. It's not a brain. It can help you to think faster or work faster, but end of day, you are responsible for all that outcome.
That's true, and Jarvis is just fiction. AI is just a tool that's being embedded in our lives. And I think the younger generation just starting out on AI, their lives will be as different as generations that started out with social media or that started out with the web. It'll definitely be a change. So let's get into full AI nerd mode and get back to the trust issue. Now, in a recent AMA survey, nearly half of the physicians said that they need more trust in their healthcare tools and data, and they want more oversight. However, at the very least, on the flip side, in the same survey, the AMA states that AI is here to enable doctors, not replace them. So doctors are still eligible for marriage these days. Now, Deepak, over time, people gain trust when things work correctly. For example, maybe not everybody trusts self-driving cars just yet, but they do trust cruise control and other technologies in the cars right now. Industry-wide, how do you feel our medical data is working correctly, or maybe not?
Some of it is, but it is not very consistent. So clinicians don't mistrust the AI as much as they have trust over the inputs. So until unless the healthcare data is very clean, contextual, and auditable, trust will have issues, like the as you said about self-driving cars before cruise control on confidence. And some of the points to highlight over here is that healthcare data is fragmented across different EHRs, labs, devices, and payers. And inconsistent interoperability and variable data quality is the issue for trust. And AI is only as reliable as the data foundation beneath it.
And we're finding that across the board, not just in healthcare, but in other industries. The term is siloed data, and different departments and different individuals have different versions of the same patient or the same client. And you won't have clean data if you have different data about the same person, same disease, and their same treatment. So data needs to be what's called clean, which means it's a single source of truth for everybody. So when the LLM or whatever it is reads the data, they get one story, nothing contradicting. And this brings us to transparency. And for AI-driven data, transparency, it's a must. So how can developers design AI systems so that medical staff can clearly understand how the system decisions are made? Because if they're going to question it, there's no point in having it. So how do they understand why it came to whatever decision it comes to?
So clinicians, they don't want just the black boxes, but they want a system with reasoning. So if a clinician, he cannot explain an AI decision to a patient, AI design is message mark, right? So explainable AI is required in healthcare. So system which are designed should have data points influencing the decision, which patterns were detected, and the confidence level, right? Example, if AI flags a sepsis risk, it should show what are the trends, vitals, and the blood counts using which it had that risk identified. So, in short, AI should show its work and not just issue commands. As you rightly said, transparency build the trust and help in adoption.
And I think developers need to understand that different groups have different medical needs and different medical records, and they need to adjust the data for that as well and make sure that data is not biased and it's very inclusive as possible. And I'm hoping that as we get more AI in medical care, which is a really good thing, of course, that we try to figure out how every group gets in there and cross-check with other groups and medical records. And I think that's why we need a human in the loop, because I don't really want to live in a world where AI is the final judge of anything. So when you're designing systems for your clients and you're looking at data and you're looking at bias, when the systems are designed, when and where is the human in the loop involved, both in the design part and in the, quote, user experience part?
Just to give an idea about, right, in loop, what it means, it means a qualified human reviews, validates, or even override any AI decision, especially for any high risk outcomes, right? So AI should recommend, flag, or prioritize, but should never replace any clinical judgment. So human must remain involved at different stages. Example, a diagnosis confirmation, any treatment changes, any escalations or exceptions. What we do is basically when we design such systems, we have checkpoints for high risk scenarios. So, end of day, clinicians should retain that final authority, and also it should have good ethics and a good system design to give the required outcome through the human in loop.
That makes sense. And it's also important, as far as I understand, that as AI systems are designed and are put into use, human in the loop doesn't end there. They keep on making the product better, giving better results, and saying, oh, this result is often wrong and it needs to be changed. And these new cases need to be added. So human in the loop is more than just a design element. It's a continuing element going on with AI, both inside and outside the medical field. And then let's talk about the design of AI systems and the data that we use in there. So it's a big question a lot of companies don't trust, and a lot of medical professionals still don't trust AI systems, even as they're being used more and more. So how do we check the accuracy and reliability of an AI system before deployment? And there's a term out there called synthetic data, where you put data that looks like real data. And you're going to do that for the finance industry, for the medical industry. So you don't have anyone's real data, but you're testing out the system with that. I know that's one way, but overall, how do we check the accuracy and reliability of these systems, especially before deployment?
So, what we do is we work with our clients to identify the historical data which can be used for testing and to understand the outcomes of it. We also take care of edge case scenarios or failure scenarios while testing. In some cases, we also do shadow deployments where AI advises but don't act, right? Additionally, what we do is we involve clinicians during the testing phase. So we know that they're the users who's going to use the system, so they need to be involved ahead of time and not after launching it. So yes, to your point, either if we can get the data, historical data, that's one way of doing it. The other one is to use synthetic data if there is no data available in the past, but you have to be very careful what kind of data that is it meeting the needs of the system, what kind of parameters we are using, and then use that in the system for testing purpose before we go live. End of day, it should help the care delivery, right? And it should not just say, okay, this is what it is performing. So end of day, the clinician should be able to use the system and get the benefits out of it.
Okay. And when you go into medical institutions, do you start out with a smaller case study or proof of concept in there?
So yes, we do that. So in fact, we work with them to understand what is the high valid use case for them, right? Where they are spending more time or having some challenges or have more manual efforts and all. And then that can be used for some pilots to understand, make them understand what is the outcome of it, what is the value they can get, and then go on to build a system which can help them to do some automation and get some benefits or return on investment on it.
And to our audience, when we say a pilot system, that basically means it's a small system. We want to make sure everything works and then move on from there to make a much larger system. And don't be afraid about synthetic data because they take that out before any kind of system is put in a medical institution or even finance or anything like that. It's just to make sure that it works. People on the inside already know this, but in case you're listening, we just want to make that sure. We're going to take a quick break in a minute, but coming up, who is responsible for decisions? We need to know. Chetu's Track to AI framework helps businesses adopt AI easily. In just 8 steps, you can unify data silos, maximize your ROI, and increase employee buy-in. Our experts will create a custom plan designed for your AI. Click the link in the show notes to learn more. Welcome back. So here is my bad dad joke of the day. Why did the new hire at the AI company get hired with no experience? Apparently, he was very prompt to the interview. Sorry, not sorry. All right, moving on. Deepak, for your clients, how are you designing AI systems that detect and alert users to patient conditions?
So what I do is we design AI as a second set of eyes, not just a replacement. So the goal isn't that AI knows better. Basically, it's how AI helps clinicians see something sooner, right? So AI can correlate patterns across like vitals, labs, medications, clinical notes, or any other trends. So the idea is that it identifies points that human may miss during busy shifts or their back-to-back different patients visit and so on. And the focus is more on early warning and not like diagnosis replacement, which enables early intervention and a better outcome.
Yeah, that's great. And in another episode, we talked about a case where there was an eye doctor, or actually an eye clinic, and they scanned eyes, which is great, but you can only scan so many eyes in your lifetime. And then the AI in the background was using scans from thousands of people to double check the scan that was given to them and note any anomalies or dark spots or whatever it might be to give a more clearer interpretation of that scan and tell the physician or the eye doctor in this case that, hey, this patient may have something else or some condition. And remember, there's no I in eye doctor. So when you get those alerts and you get those detections, who's responsible when AI influences a decision? Is that a good thing?
So yeah, so responsibility of an AI system lies with the organization, right, and the professional, but not the algorithm, right? So clinician end of day will have the responsibility for making decisions, and the organization along with developers are accountable for the designing the system, the validation, monitoring, and also disclosing any limitations. And again, the way we can define or design a better system is through better governance, having audit logs, and also having accountability.
For these systems that you design, has there ever been a case where a medical institution didn't give you enough data to start a live project? And how did you coach them and how did you get the additional data needed?
Yeah, yeah. So definitely it does happen because the clients may not be aware that how much data is required. So we, as a company, we guide them what kind of data is required, what should be the quality of data. So yes, we have worked with them to guide them. Okay, how much data we need to train a particular model. In some cases, we've also gone on to identifying the required data set which can be used for such training. And in few cases, we also use synthetic data. But yes, we do that on and off on a lot of projects,
And explain what training data is, if you could.
right? As you took an example of that eye clinic, right? Who used where we built a system to train a model using some images. So we work with our clients to let them know how many kind of eye images we would need, right? What should be the quality of it, and that's what data was used to train the model, and that was what we call as trained data or training data.
How do we ensure that medical data and AI do not suffer from bias in data and decisions?
So basically, bias don't come from the intent, right? It can come from some shortcuts, especially data
Right.
shortcuts. So preventing the bias requires ongoing attention and not just one-time fix. What does that mean? Is that we need data sets for demographic representation. So we need to measure fairness across population and not just the overall accuracy. We need to include clinicians early in the development phase. That way they can be part of it. End of the day, they're the people who will be using it. Additionally, we should continuously monitor the bias post deployment also. And then end of day, AI should reduce these disparities and not amplify them, which will result into wrong interpretation and wrong output.
Yeah, that's right. And onto that, I do understand that a lot of companies double check data with other organizations. I may be wrong on that, of course, but that way they're trying to avoid bias as a group. And I could be wrong on that, but I think that's happening here and there. And I'm a firm believer that over time, AI medical decisions, they really are continuing to improve. Overall, they're continuing to improve despite these isolated incidents. That's good. How do you advise your clients to continually improve data?
So yes, we work closely with our clients to treat data as a living system. Some of the key practices which we recommend is that having data governance and ownership of the data, continuous feedback loops are required, then monitoring the model drift, right? Also, if there's any bad signals or bad data, we kind of retire that data. Additionally, we work with our clients to improve the data capture at the source, which you mentioned in the beginning. We advise them to invest in interoperability and also data literacy, because end of the best AI results come from the best data hygiene and not like big data sets.
Yes. And are you able to get the data that you have into the data systems that they already have, say legacy data or maybe claims and billing and insurance and those things?
So what we do is we have been working in data interoperability for last multiple years. So we understand what kind of data is required from what systems. So we guide and educate our clients to let them know, okay, well, this is the data you would need for this AI system. Work with them to get that data through HL7 FHIR standards, which can be then used to get the required AI results or AI outcome.
Okay. And then in this age of more and more regulations, it's getting tougher to stay with those regulations. Any advice to our listeners who are implementing AI projects on how to keep up with changes in regulations and privacy laws?
I would say that keep on kind of educating yourself or keeping an update on the trends or topics, right? Obviously, there are newsletters out there which keep on updating and giving information about privacy laws and regulations. Additionally, we as a company, we also work with clients on such projects and also keep on educating them and making sure the latest and greatest is being communicated and implemented in the platform which we build.
And it seems like the challenge here is never going to end. But in my opinion, at least, it's always going to get better. And as we become more of an AI world, our healthcare, especially, is going to be much better. And doctors will still be doctors. Now, we do have an AI myth of the week, and it's pretty simple. If we add AI to healthcare, it'll automatically, right, make better clinical decisions. What's your take on that?
Basically, it will help the doctors or the clinicians to make better decisions, because if you go back few years, right, there is a lot of time which doctors and the clinicians spend on different things. Example, if they have to see a patient, they have to collect the data from different sources, study it, and then work with the patient. So now with help of AI, it can collect data from different sources, summarize it. So if you imagine, all that time is saved for the clinician, and he can easily work with the patients. In fact, spend more time with the patients than on the prep work which he used to do in the past. So definitely, it will help on ongoing basis to have better results and spend more time with the patients.
And I am still waiting for an AI that can help me pronounce drug names. I'm just saying, it's out there. AI can only be as good as the data, the context, and yes, the human oversight behind it. We still will always need a human in the loop by an expert in the field. Deepak, looking at the future, the next maybe 2 to 3 years, and maybe 5 to 10 years, what role do you think AI is going to be playing in the medical field? how do you think some things will change for the better?
So definitely, I could see that recently there have been more adoption and pilots around AI. But next 3 to 5 years, I would definitely see that there will be more adoption across different hospitals, clinics on the AI, and it will definitely help the staff and the clinicians to drive outcome and also reduce the burnout which they face nowadays. At the same time, I would also see that there will be multi-model agents. So wherein uh, there will be different agents who will be getting data from different sources, doing different tasks, and then giving the required output to the uh, clinician or the staff who is looking for adopting AI. So that's what I could see.
Yeah, that'll save time too, because, it's tough to go to a doctor and they spend 2 minutes with you, but 20 minutes on paperwork. So I'm hoping that at the very least, AI will solve that problem for us. And our final question here: what should leaders of medical organizations consider when they look into services like AI implementation, data management, diagnostics?
So I would recommend or advise our people or healthcare leaders out there that start with a problem or a use case, what they see in their organization, and not the technology. So AI success isn't about speed; it's about trust, the safety, and the accountability. Right. So they should ask questions like, what decisions are they improving? Who owns it? Who will get benefit out of it? And what happens if AI is wrong? Right. So that way they can evaluate that from all the different angles. Additionally, they should look for transparency from the vendors they are working with. They need to assess the data readiness before AI investment, plan for clinician adoption, and also change management. Along with that, they should choose long-term partners and not one-time implementation, because as we saw that AI would need some updates, right? And they would need some ongoing help and maintenance. So a long-term partner would definitely help. At the same time, establish governance as early as they can.
Yeah, that is perfect. Deepak, thank you so much for joining us today. We've learned so much. It's been a fantastic episode. I can't wait to find out more.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Track2AI Podcast. That's using the number 2, of course. And sign up for our email list. Go to www.track2aipodcast.com. And until next time, stay in the know and get on track. This podcast is for general informational purposes only. The views and opinions expressed by the guest are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of Chetu Inc., its management, or employees. Listeners should not solely rely upon the information provided and should consult appropriate professionals for advice tailored to their individual specific needs. Neither the host, guest, nor Chetu Inc. make any warranties, expressed or implied, regarding the information provided.